Yo, what's up guys, Boss here, and I'm back to another YouTube video, and this time we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be playing a classic challenge and getting 12 wins in it. Why am I doing this? Well, I'm planning on doing a classic challenge video every couple months, and the reason why is because majority of the player pool has not won a classic challenge. Something like 95% of the players in the game have not won a classic. Now, obviously, grand challenges are harder. 99% of the player pool hasn't won a grand challenge. But the key thing is if you haven't won a grand challenge and you keep struggling to win them, you need to make sure you're winning classic challenges consistently. And if you haven't won a classic challenge yet, I wouldn't recommend playing a grand challenge because it's more risky, costs more gems. And obviously, I know there's a lot of you guys who are free to play and never want to play a grand challenge because you want to save your gems for like emotes and other kind of stuff. So that's why I'm doing a classic challenge video, and I'm using a deck that is relatively free to play. I mean, it only has one legendary in it, the Log. And then for the most part, it's commons and rares with the exception of the Expo, which is an epic. 2.9 is really solid in the meta, so that's why I wanted to do it on this deck. It is a deck that isn't easy to play, so you do need to practice it. And what I would say is practice in friendly battles with your clan. That's what I used to do a couple of years ago when I wanted to learn a deck. I would do friendly battles, lots of friendly battles with someone on your friends list, someone in the clan, before you go into like ladder or a challenge and end up like, you know, taking a risk. So that's my best advice. Practice, play against friends, and then when you're consistently beating them, then go ahead and do the classic challenges, and then you could even move up to a grand challenge. So yeah, I'm going to do this every couple of months, I would say, and I'm going to use a different deck every time. And I haven't used a cycle deck in a long time, so I thought maybe you guys would enjoy this video. And yeah, I can kind of teach you a little bit on how to use 2.9 Expo, because it is a very fun deck to play once you know how to use it. So let's cycle Skeletons in the back with an Ice Spirit at the bridge. It is pretty cheap, so you almost always want to make the first move. And the biggest tip is you never really want to leak Elixir. Like, for example, you don't ever, I mean, you basically never want to leak Elixir. It doesn't matter the situation. You almost never want to. And since this guy isn't doing anything, it almost makes me think it's going to be a Golem deck. So a lot of people talk about, okay, it looks like it's a giant deck, so pretty interesting. I thought maybe it was a Golem deck. So a lot of people talk about how, like, giant decks, Golem decks are really difficult to beat with Expo. They can be hard if you don't have the placements down with the Tesla and, like, don't know when to cycle an Expo. They can be pretty difficult. But as long as you play your Teslas properly, like, in the right placement, not too high, and maybe when we get an example, I'll show you guys, like, the best position to play a Tesla. Okay, so let's go ahead and cycle Skeletons in the back here. And by the way, guys, feel free to leave in the comments below suggestions of decks you want to see in future Classic Challenge videos or in Grand Challenges. As you guys know, I do Grand Challenges a lot more frequently. Probably I do a Grand Challenge video at least once every couple weeks. Let's go with an Expo at the bridge. Ooh, unfortunately, my finger slipped and we ended up playing it a tile higher. But it isn't, I think, like, going to matter too much because he doesn't have a giant in rotation. And it looks like he's just going to go opposite lane here. So let's go with Skeletons here in an Ice Spirit and then go with Archers. And then we're going to Ice Golem as well. So even though we made that Expo mistake, we're still going to end up defending pretty easily. And yeah, this is, I mean, obviously not going to be a really easy matchup for us. So this is where really patience come into play here. Because, I mean, he has Sparky, he has Giant. So definitely like a couple of things you don't necessarily want to see when you're running Expo. I mean, the Sparky isn't too bad because you do have a lot of resets to it and ways to distract it. Such as like the Ice Spirit Skeletons. And we do end up getting an Expo lock here. So that's really nice. Let's go with an Ice Spirit here to distract the Sparky. Then let's go for Skeletons here. Let's go for an Ice Golem. Log everything back. And guys, look at the meantime, we're getting so much damage on top of this tower with that Expo. We just need to reset that Sparky last second there. And yeah, things are looking pretty solid for us. So now, guys, we're not going to go for an Expo. And notice that Tesla placement. That actually does end up pulling a Giant. Which means that's the best placement to play the Tesla when you're versing like a Giant or Golem deck. You'll see there that does end up pulling it. That's like the lowest to you can play an Expo and distract a tank, but in a lot of situations that's the best place to play it. So let's Ice Spirit here. We are back to another Tesla. That's the beauty of using 2.9, such a fast cycle deck. We can Skeletons on top of the Giant here, and then we should be able to get a pretty nice lock on top of his tower because he doesn't have a lot of Elixir. We have Fireball Log in case he wants to play anything, and we can push it back. But that might put us into double Fireball range, or even into Fireball range right now, so that is going to be a good game, and we do end up beating a Sparky Giant Miner deck. So yeah, despite our small mistake at the beginning, I mean, I guess it wasn't even that big of a mistake, because if we ended up playing the Expo in the correct spot, I don't think we would have supported it much anyways, because it was so early in the game. And that's the other big tip I want to give you guys. Like, when you're using Expo, don't over support your your Expo in single Elixir, because then you're not going to be able to defend their offense. So you can spend like maybe an Ice Spirit Skeletons or an Ice Golem, but I wouldn't really get too defensive with the Expo unless they're down a lot of Elixir, which in that case you could, but it really depends on the situation. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. So let's go into the next game here. We're 9-0 right now. Alright, we found a game here against KOPL. And the best play is cycling archers in the back if you have those in your starting hand. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's go ahead and cycle archers in the back. He's saying wow, so maybe he knows who we are. I don't know. We'll give him the good luck. And he's going to go for... Oh, wow. So we might actually be versing an Expo mirror matchup. And if that's the case, guys, since we don't have an Expo in rotation, we're going to have to go for a Fireball. Get some tanks down here. And then go for a log. Unfortunately, we are going to have to let that Expo lock on our tower. I could have possibly gotten the Ice Golem down in time, but I feel like it would have been kind of close. So this is going to be a mirror matchup, which is definitely interesting. I definitely think a mirror matchup is important for you guys to know how to play. So I'm going to defensive Expo here. And notice where I played it. Like, I played it, so if you were to Expo other lane, it would target it too. And also... I played it further away from that tower, so he couldn't fireball the tower with the lowest amount of HP. That's what you want to do when you're playing defensive Expo. We might Tesla here if he decides to Expo. I mean, we'll kind of have to see what he does. And we want to leave our Ice Golem in rotation for his Expo. It looks like he could be going in for an Expo here. We'll just go for an Ice Golem, or I mean, excuse me, an Expo right now. He's probably going to Fireball it again. At least that's what he should do. Yeah, there we go. That's the Fireball. So we'll just split archers in the back once again. And yeah, we'll try to get a lock and double. What I like doing is fireballing and logging the Expos in single. That's, I think, like the best way to stop them, because you can get damage on their tower, which is nice. He's kind of just mirroring what I'm doing, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, he's going to go for an Expo now. So let's go in here with an Ice Golem, a Fireball on the Expo, and then we need to go in with archers here. Hopefully they end up catching him off guard and they do lock on the Expo, so that's what we wanted there. I'm going to Tesla here because I feel like he might go in for an Expo, but unfortunately we played that out of range. But it should be fine here. We can just defensive Expo, and his Tesla isn't going to get much value here on our Expo. He's going to Fireball. Let's just log his Expo to like make sure that we are able to finish it off. Ice Spirit to tank. And we do have the lead right now. Things are looking pretty good for us. Let's Ice Golem to distract the Expo once again. Go with a Fireball on his Expo. Archers. Ice Spirit here, Skeletons, and then cycle back to another Ice Golem. And like, look at all the damage we're getting on his tower and the Expo. That's exactly what you want to do. What I'm doing right here, just chipping his tower away with the Fireballs. Okay, he's going to go for defensive Expo. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We need to make sure to get an Ice Golem down to tank for it. You need to protect your defensive Expos. That's another really important thing to do. Protect your defensive Expos. So in this situation, we do end up both locking on each other's Expos, so not bad for me, because ours is still slightly alive. Let's set up another one here. We'll see what he wants to do. It looks like he's going to go on offense. Pretty interesting archers, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the Fireball, not on the tower, to make sure we hit the Ice Golem. And this is going to be a really good spot for us, I feel like, because our Expo is going to stay alive, our defensive Expo. Let's get an Ice Golem down in case he were to go in for a prediction Tesla. I mean, I doubt he would, but, like, just in case. Ooh, and look at that. Both our Expos end up locking on his, so that's pretty unfortunate for him. And I think if we Archers here and even Tesla, that should be game. I wonder if he... Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I guess he gave up there. I mean, both the Expos locking on his defensive Expo was pretty unfortunate for him, because then he was just so low on Elixir after that. But yeah, you kind of just want to play the matchup like I did there. I don't know how well I explained it, because I was trying to focus on the game and talk at the same time. So basically what I was doing is you're fireballing and logging their Expo whenever they play it on offense. And then if for whatever reason you don't have a good cycle and you don't feel comfortable, you could just defensive Expo, which I did a couple of times, because that basically ensures that you're going to defend against their Expo as long as you space everything out and don't, like, for example, play Archers or something right next to the Expo and give them a huge amount of fireball value. So we're 10-0 right now. I just wanted to see that guy's profile because, I mean, he played it pretty well, especially at the beginning of the game. So we're playing against Zed here. So yeah, I hope we verse an Elixir Golem or Golem deck. If not, I do have a replay of it that I could show you guys, because it's not too Okay, so what you want to do is Expo opposite lane if they play like a 4 Elixir card. And he's going to go with the Sparky. We need to go with Skeletons here to make sure that that Expo doesn't shoot our the Sparky doesn't shoot our Tesla. And he doesn't have a poison now, and we have a good Elixir lead over him, I feel like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with an Expo here, and then a Tesla predicting like maybe an Executioner or something. He's going to Night Witch though. Let's go Skeletons here. And yeah, guys, I think we might have already possibly won here, and this is the reason why. When you're versing an Elixir Golem deck, it's a pretty easy matchup, to be honest, as long as you don't, like, mess up your Tesla or defense towards the beginning of the game, because what happens is whenever they use an Elixir Golem on the Expo, they get put in an awful situation, and they're just so low on Elixir. We need a Skeletons here, because I was trying to predict, like a Sparky. I wanted to make sure I had something down in case you were to go in for a Sparky on top of the Expo, but you're going to see here it's not even going to matter. Like, basically single Elixir, you should always get damage against, like, a Golem player or an Elixir Golem player, and this guy already gave up. I mean, that's what you want to do. It might have looked kind of easy there, but it's more easy than you guys think to break through against Elixir Golem, and I don't know. It's important because Elixir Golem and Golem, like a lot of people think, are just like impossible to beat with Expo, but they're not that bad, especially Elixir Golem. And the Executioner is very easy to stop with Ice Spirit Skeletons, but you basically, whenever they're going aggressive in like in single Elixir, you're always going to be able to punish them, because if they're ever using their Elixir Golem, they're not going to have Elixir for defense. And yeah, you saw what I did. I went for like Skeletons and Ice Spirit in case he played a Sparky, and yeah, like at that point it was kind of already over for him anyways. And yeah, that's going to be it. So pretty easy win. And the thing is this guy, I doubt he's like a top 200 player or anything like that. Even if you're not an Expo like master or something, you know, like if you haven't completely mastered Expo, you can still beat good Elixir Golem players just by outcycling them in single Elixir. I mean, we'll check this guy's profile. I mean, oh, he's actually at 6,300, so definitely a decent player. I mean, and I'll show you guys earlier, I beat this Elixir Golem deck, and he was at 5,960, so two decent players. It's just actually not that bad of a matchup. In single, outcycle them, and then you're good for the rest of the game, and you can just play defense. So now, guys, we just need one more win to get the 12 win. We might even end up getting a 12-0. And if that's the case, I might regret not have started to record at about 7 wins, because I didn't realize the games would be pretty quick, because typically when you run Expo, there's a lot of games that end up being like 4 or 5 minutes, but All right, we found possibly our last game here. I hope he's using maybe like a I was gonna say I hope he's using like a Golem deck or something so I could show you guys how to beat Golem, but unfortunately he isn't. And he's actually using 2.9 Expo or log bait. Why did I say 2.9 Expo? Anyways, log bait is a pretty easy matchup, but you still have to be careful, and the key thing to do is to cycle your cheap cards. So Ice Spirit, Skeletons, for example. I think we could activate King here. No, I don't. Yeah, if he played the Goblin Barrel one tile further back, we would have been able to activate King. So yeah, pretty good Goblin Barrel on his end there. I could have logged it, but I thought there was a chance we could have ended up activating King. Okay, so Valkyrie might be his only tank to the Expo, so with that out of cycle, I'm going to Expo here, but I am going to have an Ice Spirit ready in case he decides to play something. And he's going to go for a Tesla, pretty good Tesla and log on his end there. And actually pretty bad Goblin Barrel because he ended up going in with the Goblin Barrel with his Dark Goblin there, giving us so much value. He probably should have played the Goblin Barrel like back there as a juke. So in that way, if we logged it, the Dark Goblin would have gotten a few shots in. We're ready for his Princess if he has it. And what we can do, yeah, let's just Skeletons here. He's going to go for his own Skeletons. So he had an Ice Spirit there. Let's just go for a Defensive Expo and then see if he has a Rocket. And if he doesn't even have a Rocket, we can just stack like Expos and honestly just win off of Defensive Expos. So yeah, that Dark Goblin on his end there. Just go for a Fireball on top of the Princess, and then we could, let's go for an Ice Spirit here, just in case he plays a Tesla. Like, I don't want him to predict me or something. That would be pretty bad. And yeah, with him not having a Rocket, at least I highly doubt it because he would have used it by now. I'm just going to Tesla here as well. Pretty good, Tesla on his end, though. Alright, I'm going to ignore that Goblin Barrel and just focus on offense here because we have a half a Tesla down, and I think we're in a good spot at this point to just overwhelm him with our Expos. Let's just Skeletons here. He is going to go with another Valkyrie, though. Fireball his Dark Goblin. So we're finally going to get a lot of damage on his tower. I think we should set up another Defensive Expo here. That's definitely a juke. We're not going to fall for that. You know, this guy's playing pretty well, actually, for him not having a Rocket, especially. Let's just Ice Spirit. There we go, guys. We finally predicted the Tesla. I knew he was going to play that because he did it last time, and he probably didn't have another option. And it is going to be a good game. I mean, we'll definitely give him the good game and the well played because he played that pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, I would even say he barely made any mistakes because he didn't even have a Rocket for our Expo. So I mean, he definitely played that pretty well, considering the matchup. Like, in my opinion, we definitely do have matchup there. We probably don't have, like, a hard counter or anything, but that definitely is, I would say, like, at least a 60-40 matchup for us. So he played that well, and we are going to get the 12-0. So I don't know if this video helped you guys. I could show you guys another replay if you want, because I beat a Golem deck, I think, earlier, and also let me see. Yeah, I think I'll go over this just because he was a decent player and I felt like I played it pretty well. To kind of like show you guys how you would play against a Golem deck so you can get an idea. But the key is to be really aggressive in single elixir. But don't support your Expo too much, but you play aggressive and use your cycle card, so when you Expo, and if they golem on it, you can cycle back to another one. Oh, oh, look here. I know a lot of you guys, I'm just assuming, probably verse people in classic challenges or ladder who just golem in the back first play of the game. So if you're using Expo and they're going to golem in the back first play of the game, even if you don't have an Expo in rotation, cycle your cheap cards. Like, that's what I do here. Ice Golem, Skeletons, and then Expo immediately. Because this might be your only good opportunity to punish them. And then here he goes with the Executioner. Pretty bad Executioner. It's just going to get shredded, honestly. And then the Expo does lock on the tower. It's not going to get, I mean, like, an insane amount of damage because the Bar Barrel does take it out quite a bit. But we're going to get a really nice lead. And then look at how I defend this here. I mean, we Ice Spirit, and then look at these Skeletons, pulling the Night Witch all the way into the other lane, and then basically everything got shut down completely. Like, did you just see how I spaced everything out with the Tesla 2, how I played that nice and low? And then I Ice Golem to support the archers to force a response out of him, because he had to spend 4 elixir, and all I spent was 2 elixir to pair with it. And then immediately I go in with an Expo here, because I knew he was probably going to golem on it, and I wanted to, like, try to outcycle him, and I know that I can easily defend his golem push, because single elixir, you can, as I said, defend any elixir golem push, any golem push, and that's why what you want to do when you're versing golem is be aggressive, so then that way, if when they start to, like, overwhelm you and double, you can defend by going in with, like, defensive expos and stuff. So I think here I, like, messed up, well, I didn't really mess up too much, but I just kind of played, I guess, the defense a little late, and the Executioner was able to get a hit. But you're going to see right here, obviously he doesn't have a golem in rotation because he just played one, so I just go in with another Expo here. And, like, that's what you want to do. And they don't have a golem in cycle, and it's, like, double too. You can support your Expo more. I fireball all this, and then I get the lock I need, and then at this point, I know I can just defend and win the game, because I get his tower to basically, that's 2 fireballs and 1 log range, I believe. So I just knew if I played good defense, I would be able to take his tower pretty easily. And you'll see here what I do again. Once again, going with the low Tesla, the lowest possible, that ends up pooling tanks. One of the biggest mistakes I see people doing is they play high Teslas. Like, let's say I played that Tesla like 2 tiles higher, it would have gotten killed much faster, and also the other tower doesn't hit it in a lot of cases. So you always need to play your Teslas lower. It's pretty important, but don't do it first play of the game, because if they're using a hog deck, it will bypass, the Hog Rider bypasses, and now after defending that, I just cycle spells, and we got a pretty easy win against Golem. I mean, we made it look easy, but honestly, guys, Golem isn't too bad of a matchup once you practice it a bit and just get down what you want to do. And especially if you're winning a classic challenge, that's, like, the players typically running Golem in the classic challenges aren't the best, so you can always punish them if they're doing something silly like playing a Golem first play of the game or anything like that. But yeah, I hope this video helped you guys, and good luck on getting your first classic challenge win if you have not already. And if you guys were wondering, I have a lot of, I have 10 grand challenge, or 10 or more grand challenge wins, and then I've also won a classic challenge myself. So 10 grand challenge wins, classic challenge myself. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of, I mean, like, I practiced a lot with different decks, and honestly, like, that's the thing you want to do if you're wanting to learn a specific deck. Just practice it with your clan, as I was saying. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Get some people on your friends list who are active, or just in your clan if your clan's active, and practice different matchups. That's honestly the best way in the whole game to learn how to play a deck. Because, I mean, watching me or other people can help too, but the best way is for you to practice it, and that's what I would recommend, because you have no risk playing people in your clan. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like it if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And as I said earlier in the video, let me know in the comments below decks you want to see me win either classic challenges with or grand challenges with. As I said, I'll make a video like this every couple months, I would say, with a different deck. So I did a video on this a couple months ago. It was with P.E.K.K.A. I'm thinking of doing this again, maybe with Golem, or maybe giant, like any deck you guys want. Maybe I could do 2.6 Hog Rider if you guys would be interested in that. Just let me know, honestly. And yeah, thanks again until next time, guys.